Okay, this video is for Music 101, and this is the first video in a series I'm going to do about triads. So, triads are really nothing more than two intervals put together that make a basic form of a chord. So triads, I mean the first, tri, that means three. So we're always going to be dealing with three notes. And the cool thing about triads is that they're always going to be, regardless of clef, they could be in treble clef or bass clef, it doesn't matter. They're always going to be on either adjacent spaces, so it's going to be on a space, then skip a line, then on a space, skip a line, and on a space. And that can happen on any of the spaces. It can happen down here. It can even happen way down here. If you're getting really crazy, it could happen down here, but they're always on spaces, so just spaces, skipping the lines, all of these. Or they're going to happen on the lines, adjacent lines. That's not drawn so well. So it's on the line, we skip a space, it's on the line, we skip a space, it's on the line. And so we can fill some more triads in. Could happen up here, could happen down here, could happen way down here, and we could even get crazy and it could happen down there. And so this doesn't matter if it's in treble or bass clef, but triads are always three notes. That's first. The second thing is they're always on adjacent either spaces or lines. Now at the end of this section we will discuss triad inversions, and so there are times, which I will explain in later videos, that you will see the triads actually split up and they look a little bit different. But for the entirety of this chapter, we're always dealing with triads in their root position order. So the first degree, the third degree, and the fifth degree. Now why did I call those the one, first, third, and fifth? Let's scoot the paper down a little bit. So let's write a triad here. So here we have a C, we're in treble clef, C, an E, and a G. Let's write that. C, E, and G. And so when we're figuring out qualities of triads, we're really just looking at a couple of intervals. We're looking at the interval from the first note to the second note of the triad. Then we're looking at the quality of the interval from the first note of the triad to the third note in the triad. So if we look at the first interval, which is C to E, the generic interval from C to E, C, D, E, it's got to be some sort of third. If we count the number of half steps, this would have 4 half steps, which would make this a major third. If we look at the next interval, it would be C up to G. So C up to G. So if we count the generic interval, C, D, E, F, G, some sort of fifth. And if we count the half steps on the piano, it's going to end up being 7 half steps, which makes it a perfect fifth. And so now, if we go, you can look online in the Moodle section for this, there's the Triad Grid. So we'd say, well, this triad starts on C, it has a major third and a perfect fifth. And if we look at the grid, the kind of triad that has a major third and a perfect fifth is a major triad. So in fact, this is a C major triad, and we just notate that by making a capital C. Now, when we label, or we refer to the notes in the triad, let's use this C major triad as an example again. The second note in the triad is always going to be the interval of a third above the tonic. So this is the first degree, or the tonic. And then the second note in the triad we actually call the third. So we have tonic. And then the distance between the first note in the triad and the third note in the triad, from the bottom I guess, is always going to be some sort of fifth, and so we refer to the top note in the triad as the fifth. So from here on out I'll refer to the middle note in the triad as the third and the upper note as the fifth, because you always have a third, some sort of third, whether it's major or minor, separating the first and second notes, or first and middle notes, and you always have the interval, some interval of a fifth, whether it's perfect, diminished, or augmented, separating the two outside notes in a triad. So that's my introduction to triads.